Being an American right now is some scary fucking shit. Studio apartment, $2,500. Average cost of a car, $50,000. You want a bacon, egg, and cheese? Motherfucker, them eggs cost $20.
Living in America is so expensive.
People are broke, and now there's proof showing up in the numbers.
60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have.
Americans are not poor because they are lazy. They are poor because they are literally being bullied into it. Okay? Like, just think about it for a second. Americans are being bullied into poverty as we speak. Okay? Wages do not keep up. We already know that. But prices have never stopped rising. They just keep going up and up and up. Rent, groceries, healthcare, insurance, everything costs more while the paychecks are barely moving. We're told to budget better or pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, right? Like, the math is just not mathing anymore, dog. If you work full time, you're still struggling. If you get sick, you go into debt. You miss a paycheck, you're basically cooked. You know, you're losing everything. And that's not personal failure, okay? That is a system that is rigged, doing exactly what it is built to do. And the message is always the same, right? If you're drowning, it's your fault. That's what they say. It's your fault if you're drowning, okay? They always put it back on us. They're always gaslighting us and thinking that we're not working hard enough. That lie has kept people quiet. It keeps us exhausted, and it keeps us blaming each other instead of the system squeezing us dry. Most Americans are not asking to be rich. That I know that for a fact, right? Now, I'm not complaining if that happens, but we're asking for stability at the very least. That's not entitlement. That is something that I believe that people have the right to have. And the truth is simple. Poverty doesn't just happen. People are pushed into it. I truly believe that.
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. I'm being generous. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? Who cares if you make $4,000 a month if you don't get to keep any of it? 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes half of six-figure earners. 80% of you guys are in debt and don't own anything, and half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor, and let's call other people poor. Living paycheck to paycheck your whole life and being in debt your whole life should be considered poverty, but it's not. And I know this is gonna hurt a lot of Americans, but it's the truth. The US system wants you to spend every waking moment of your life working and paying into a system that will never benefit you. Slaving away your whole life just to be retired for a measly 10 years. At least here in Mexico, we own our things. We own our houses. We own our cars. We're not in debt. But anyways, that's a story for another day.
People are broke, and now there's proof showing up in the numbers. Kellogg's reported an 8.6% drop in cereal sales. Crocs pulled its entire financial forecast. Heineken says people are drinking less. And even global giants like Nestle are seeing sales fall across the board. And what's scary about this, it's not about cutting luxuries. People are walking away from everyday items. Candy, snacks, fast food, takeout. Last Saturday, I went for lunch at a popular restaurant. Usually packed at noon, we expected a wait. Instead, we were just a handful of people there. Because consumers are cutting back hardest on items that bring joy. Chips, chocolate, going out to dinner. Not because they want to, because simply they don't have the fucking money. And companies know it. Forecasts are being pulled. Behind the scenes, they see the truth. Demand just isn't slowing. It's fucking collapsing. After 5 brutal years, Americans are barely hanging on. And now the administration slaps tariffs on top of it. It's like throwing gasoline on an already burning house. These families are one missed paycheck away from financial collapse. Americans aren't tightening belts anymore. They've run out of fucking notches.
Living in America is so expensive that it's not even living anymore. It's just a recurring subscription. You pay to live, you pay to work, you pay to eat, you pay to sleep. Rent, more than half your income. Groceries, doubled within a year. Gas, insurance, bills, taxes. Damn near make money just to give it away. You're not living the dream. You're financing your own exhaustion. And their solution is budget better. Like you're out here buying Ferraris and filet mignon every single day. When in all reality, you're broke just here's the kicker. You do everything right. You go to school, you get the job, you play by the rules, and you're still barely hanging on. It's not your fault. The system was built by design. They want you broke, distracted, and grateful for crumbs because a stressed, tired population doesn't rebel, it complies.
Y'all know that the average American doesn't have any money left over, if but maybe $200 or $300 left after they get paid every 2 weeks or every month. Did y'all know that? I'm sorry, but that I literally feel like drive me to voluntary homelessness. I would volunteer to be homeless. There's no way they'd have me out here working for anybody and I can't live life after I pay bills. Y'all can have these bills back. Take the car, take the crib. You can have it. Listen, I'm going to be homeless on the streets before I dare. Because, see, the way I'm set up, my Father which art in heaven would never have that be my portion. That's not my portion. There's no way that paying bills and not having any money left over to really exist, that's not my portion. That's not my portion. And I feel like if that doesn't motivate you and inspire you to get out here and go make some money, make more money. See, the problem with us nowadays is not that we don't know how to make money. It's just that we need to make more money. Find ways to make more money. Stop making excuses. You need to be trying to be the president of the United States before you stop trying to find a new job. Listen, if you got to switch jobs every single 2 weeks, then that's what you got to do. May the best salary win. Thank you.
You're not struggling because you're poor. You're struggling because you live in the USA. You're struggling because prices have gone up tremendously, but the wages haven't. You're struggling because your bills continue to increase, but your wages haven't. You're struggling because you have greedy, corrupt CEOs of companies that are continuing to record record profits, but are refusing to pay their workers a livable wage. You're struggling because the country that prints money won't give that money back to its people. You're struggling because the country that is in $37 trillion and counting worth of debt somehow finds a way to give billions of dollars to fund new wars, but won't find any money to fund the poor. You're struggling because this country is stealing 30 to 40% of your income, if not more. You're struggling because after this country wrongfully took 30 to 40% of your income, they're telling you to pay more during tax season. You're struggling because homes that used to cost $150,000 to $200,000 10 to 15 years ago are now costing $400,000, if not $500,000. You're struggling because those starter homes that used to be seen as affordable are now being bought by large corporations. You're struggling because rent was under $1,000 10 to 15 years ago is now costing almost $3,000 for a one bedroom. You're struggling because these greedy landlords continue to increase the rent. You're struggling because a $100 grocery bill 10 to 15 years ago will get you a huge haul, will now only get you a few things in 2025. You're struggling because the gas that you used to fill up your car used to be $1 and some change per gallon is now almost $4 a gallon. You're struggling because the cost of having a good time and living life has gone up tremendously. An airplane ticket used to be $200 round trip is now $400 one way. It used to cost under $1,000 to enjoy a vacation. Now it's costing almost $3,000 to $4,000 depending on where you go. You're struggling because you're forced to get a second job just to make ends meet as things continue to skyrocket. You're struggling because the American dream is no longer the American dream. It's the American nightmare.
You want to know how they're stealing from us in real time? Let me break it down. In the first quarter of 2025, companies threw $293 billion into their own buying stock. Not hiring us, not lowering prices, just pumping up the CEO bonuses. By the end of this year, they'll likely exceed $1.1 trillion in buybacks. That's money that could have gone into wages, benefits, or lowering costs for families. Instead, it just padded the pockets of the richest 1%. Meanwhile, rent keeps climbing or staying painfully high. Nationally, it's sitting around $1,750 a month. Even as some markets dip, places like Manhattan are nearly $3,000 a month just to live. And landlords openly admit that they plan to keep raising it. 6 to 10% increases in this year alone. And check this. Workers are more productive than ever. Productivity jumped 2.4% in the second quarter of 2025, but wages have barely moved. Since 1978, productivity has risen over 60%, but wages have crawled less than 20. So we're doing more for less. And rent isn't just expensive, it is inflation. Shelter alone drove more than half of April's inflation increase. Over the past 5 years, apartment rents rose 29%, single-family home rents rose 43%, while household incomes only climbed 23%. We're working harder, we're paying more, and we're falling further behind. This isn't capitalism. This is extraction. They are bleeding the working class dry while using our work to build their profits. So here's what nobody wants to admit. They pay us to live. They invoice us for existing. And until we call it what it is, we'll keep drowning in a life that was stolen from us.
Being an American right now is some scary fucking shit. Studio apartment, $2,500. Average cost of a car, $50,000. You want a bacon, egg, and cheese? Motherfucker, them eggs cost
$20.
You need gas to fill up that $50,000 car? Well, get ready to spend $70. The government? Yeah, that's no longer a thing, buddy. You want to be educated and go to school so you could do something with your life? Well, sorry. That's no longer a thing. If you happen to look something like I do, Hispanic, we're gonna send you out of the country, even though you were
Born here.
Oh, and that small check that you earn every week, yeah, I'm gonna have to take half of that. Give me that. And that car that you paid $50,000 for, we're gonna have to charge you taxes every year for that too. Pretty much, living a comfortable life in America right now is almost fucking impossible. Thank you, Trump.
There is now 0 states in the U.S. where a minimum wage job is enough to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, whoa, before you go, well, don't work a minimum wage job, go find a better paying job. The whole reason a minimum wage was created was to prevent worker exploitation. The goal was to ensure that even the lowest paid workers could afford basic necessities. The real problem is that it's not even just the minimum wage. Even if you make the average salary in the United States $66,000 a year, you can still barely get by because the average annual expenses in 2023 was almost $80,000 a year. And we know that in the past 2 years, shit has hit the fan. To have the same purchasing power as the boomers did in the 1970s, a minimum wage job would have to be close to $60 an hour. A minimum wage job. Why don't you go find a $60 an hour job? Let me know how that goes. But no, we shouldn't tax the ultra wealthy and the mega corporations who are creating this crisis, because we should just wait for the money to trickle down into our mouths and all over our body. It's going to trickle down.
People need to understand that you cannot hustle your way and budget your way out of an economy that's purposely crumbling its people. And the thought process of you all saying, well, just save more. Do you know people are having to decide whether or not they're going to eat or pay a bill or eat and have heat or eat or even have a fucking enough money to get to work? Like, people are struggling. Everything is being raised up except the pay rate. And that's across all boards for everybody. You understand? So because you made your lick and you got in when you could get in and you invested in crypto right when it was right and you did the thing with the stocks and the ET, we understand that. Congratulations. Teach the others so they don't have to come beg you for fish to eat. But at the same motherfucking time, have some compassion, because it's hard out here.
60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have. People living paycheck to paycheck are about to go broke. The GDP numbers came in yesterday, and of course the economy receded, which I predicted 2 months ago, and people laughed. Mark my words, the second quarter is going to be far worse. Tariffs on Chinese products at 145% are about to kick in, which means everything you buy from China on Amazon or elsewhere is about to go through the roof. Grocery store shelves are starting to empty at Walmarts across the country, and of course grocery prices continue to soar. People who've been financing groceries on credit are starting to default on those payments. We are about to see an economic catastrophe. If you're in this 60% that has little or no money, please stop spending money. Protect your family. Trump does not care about you. Even if you voted for him, he's a billionaire. He won't suffer, but you and your family will. Please protect yourself.